pen, but it wasn't really a pen. It was like a
Oh yeah,
like
must
a
have
gun.
been like a.
Well, it was pretty heavy, but
Yeah.
it was hard to write. It was heavy, and it was hard to write and be steady
Yeah.
with the
Because you're not doing it like this. You're having to.
right. And he was doing it across the street, so
Oh,
it's
okay.
got to be at least 30 to 50 feet away. And of
Mhm.
course, the Wachovia building is pretty high.
Yeah.
He had to point it
So
up
he's
so it
doing
wasn't
it
in the
at
way
an
of
angle.
traffic.
Yeah.
And it was pretty fascinating. So that was one of my shows that had repeated last night, and it's repeating 2 more times through the weekend.
Okay.
So I thought that was, and we just happened to be talking about that artist during the day yesterday, and
Mhm.
all of a sudden that show comes on as a repeat. So
That's
that was a
cool.
good surprise.
Well, that worked well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Had nice timing.
But as far as wallpaper project, it's mostly abstract art. We will do a recording of bands or DJs, VJs, happenings. Most of my pieces are abstract, totally abstract. They're artsy.
Mm-hmm.
Any technical nuance that comes around, I've stuck it in there somehow.
Okay.
And a lot of my work is also subliminal. You're not supposed to read too much into it, but it's supposed to be in your face without you knowing it.
Okay.
There you go.
So when did you start doing this?
Well, I've actually been filming my whole life, but as far as the show goes, I think we're hitting 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
We were originally on Friday nights until recently. We took a little survey and realized that most of the people that would have watched the show are mostly maybe college art students or
Yeah.
somebody that actually understands abstract art.
Mm-hmm.
They'd usually be out on a Friday night, so they'd
Yeah.
almost never get to see it. And so we switched in back of the Mountain Dungeon, which is a similar type of program. It's on the same realm anyway, and they have a good following, and they've been able to drum up enough viewers and whatnot that if we followed right behind them, maybe we have a block of this type of programming that people sit and watch on a Thursday night and then still be able to go out on Friday night.
Okay.
Now, me, I have a rotating schedule, so I never get to really go out in the first place. I'm a third shifter,
Okay.
so I get a little messed up on that. Anytime I really want to do something, it's usually when I'm supposed to be at work.
No, this is the 11 to 7 shift, I assume?
7 to 7,
7 to 7.
12 hours, yeah.
12-hour shift, okay.
I'm due to go in, that's why I'm cutting myself short today. I'm leaving at 5 so I can get going to work. But other than that,
Because I'm going to have to leave at 5 to go do my other show, which follows this show.
and your show is?
My show is Revelations.
Revelations.
And it's not my show. I'm acting as the director.
Uh-huh.
But the producer of the show, who's also the host of the show, talks about basically whatever she wants to talk about, and she tries to make it interesting because she has gathered a group of people who are professed psychics around her, and they go off in whatever tangent that strikes them. So when I go in today, I have no idea what the show is going to be about. Since not being a psychic myself, I have no way of anticipating.
So is this the same one with the glow lady?
I don't know. I haven't been in Asheville long enough to know all of these.
Okay, well that's sort of good because you're coming in fresh.
I'm coming in fresh.
And you don't have a biased opinion on anything?
No, absolutely not. I used to produce. I produced shows for 20 years, and now I just do crew, and I either direct or either act as director or sound or camera, and so my job is simply to make it sound good and look good. Whatever the content is,
it doesn't matter.
It
Just
doesn't
as long
matter
as
to
you're.
me. It doesn't matter to me. It's that the audience will hear it and see it, and they'll be able to. And what they're talking about is their business.
That's right.
And I'm not making a judgment on it one way or the other.
You're just behind the camera or whatnot.
I'm
Now,
behind the
what
camera
kind of shows did you used to work with before?
Yeah. Hello.
Hi.
I'm Katie.
Hi, Katie.
Katie.
I came for a little bit of tea because
You
I'm
came for a
rendering
little bit of
something.
tea. Okay.
So-
Rendering.
Just
Well,
letting it go.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, this one's probably the one to go for.
This is the ginseng, and this is the sassafras.
I know this is the one that's been steeping the
Okay.
longest.
I had sassafras yesterday, so I think I'll
And
try
it's
this.
very
Okay.
full. Very full.
Yeah, very, 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 very full.
We're talking so full, you can't believe it.
And we have some Milano cookies. Because everybody likes
Would
Milano.
you like me to do the ceremonial opening of the Milano cookies?
Definitely.
Okay.
Milano's like the best.
I know
See?
everybody loves Milanos.
Because they melt in your mouth.
I know they
They do something.
So
I was looking for napkins. I guess there's some in there.
Napkins, and we open this very gently.
There's high security on those envelopes.
Yes, and we will. This has been through airport security. The TSA has guaranteed that these are
It's
totally safe to eat, consume. We don't
Consume?
eat anymore.
Thank you.
That's a
We
word
consume.
for you.
We consume. Yes. So, and
So-
what are you doing? So, while you're taking a break, what were you doing before you walked in to take a break?
I was working on and putting together a bunch of shorts that I shot previously in film school and whatnot. So I'm just putting them together in a half-hour block so I can show them here.
Cool.
You just
Now-
you lined up a bunch of pants that are shorts, and you just took shots of them. And
Pretty
is that-
much.
Is that what you did?
So it's all multicolor
All
shorts.
multicolored
Yeah.
and different sizes. And
It's a little boring, but I think it's cool.
So have you been putting films together for a while?
Yeah, I started making movies when I was 12,
Uh-huh.
and they were like cheesy little things with my cousins and my sister and video cameras and whatnot. And then and I just didn't want to stop, so I just kept going. And then I
You
went to
got
film
the
school in
bug.
Florida and shot a few films on real film.
Mm-hmm.
But now I think the program is entirely digital, So I started in the old school, with 16 millimeter film,
Mhm.
and cutting and splicing, and I loved it. I thought it was great.
That's
It's
right.
really expensive, but I mean compared to digital, but I think it's worth it. It puts you in a different mindset.
Well,
than-
you can appreciate everything that's preset now
right.
because you know how they got there, and if anything happened to happen, power or whatever, you can always go back and be manual.
And not only that, like I think editing was the biggest advantage because you had to, if you're splicing out one or two frames, you're going to stop and think about it before you do that, because if you decide you don't like it, you have to
Right.
go back and tape them back together, and it's such a hassle. So it just made you stop and think before you cut. And here, with the computers, it's like just undo, or let me just try it and see what it looks like. So
Yeah,
your brain doesn't work, I think, the same
That's
way.
like with film, you're a little more choosy and picky of what you're actually going to film. You
Right.
basically edited before you started.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, the cost again will make you do that. Have you shot film before?
Oh, my life is film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what
I
are,
go way back.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
What have you done? What kind of
Well, I worked a little bit on the Dirty Dancing film. That was my first venture here in '86.
Oh
I
wow.
was a co-owner of Vestron Video at the time,
Uh-huh.
and it was a lot of fun. But the way I remember it was raining. It was done here at Lake Lure. It was raining, lots of mosquitoes. Everybody was sick. I stayed for a couple days, and I said, I'm out of here. All the equipment was getting rusty. It just, it wasn't fun. But at least I got to, I got to get my hands in it, so that was fun. Other than that, I've done stuff with the Beatles, all of them here and there.
Wow.
And are we ready?
Yeah, I want to take
Okay.
over my seat now.
Okay.
I have to put on my.
Well, here we are.
Well, I can slide down one, but I guess we're both leaving at the same time.
Well, I
Yeah.
can adjust the camera.
Okay.
Okay.
Whatever.
Well, the mad scientist is going to make a grand appearance.
So,
Da-da-da. Where's that Elvis?
Drum roll,
Da-da-da,
No,
da-da-da.
no.
Here he is.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I have some more cups. And here, since, well, you've already got a cup.
Yes.
But anyone who's interested in the Wu Yi tea thing, here's a mug that has some writing on it.
Okay. This is suitable for framing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
This one matches this one.
Okay. I guess I'll hand this back to you so it
Okay,
can be
yeah,
safely put away. 'Cause
That
it's
can be set over here.
it's a handy thing to have.
One of these and,
And we've kept your seat warm.
okay.
You're
Oh,
great.
yeah. You got hot butt.
And you haven't had a cup of tea
No, I
yet.
haven't.
No. What would you like? Would you like these ginseng or something?
This is okay. This was
This is ginseng.
Yeah.
sassafras. I'm into that sassafras. I'm
Okay.
gonna check that
I'll
out.
move that around so
Really
we can
good.
get to it.
Yeah.
There you go.
She had sassafras yesterday.
Yeah.
Did
you've
she
been
tell you she was
sassafras.
on the show yesterday?
No. Yeah, I was hanging out here yesterday, and I didn't know. I thought you only had the tea party like once a week.
Twice.
Oh.
Now, what am I, I have to get my cup.
I thought that giant one was yours. Where did you find that?
No, I use the neck. I don't use that. I used to. I used to use the really big one, but now I use Elmer Fudd here. It's a little smaller, about a cup smaller, or it only holds 3 cups as opposed to 5 cups or.
And this
Or
and this
2.5.
particular cup here is
That's the big cup.
that's the big cup. Is that
And when these teas are steeped enough, we should pull the basket with the tea
Okay.
in it out and put in. That's what I have that big cup
Okay.
there for.
oh, the big cup is for the when it's been steeped.
Yeah, right. I
Yeah,
just pull
that
it out.
sassafras one
Yeah.
we had yesterday,
Yeah.
it was sat there for a long time. People just kept pouring, and it got really strong at
Oh,
the very
yeah.
end.
I should imagine
They are done.
that these are done.
Okay.
Okay. So we
You lift and I will put under.
there's one.
Voila. That's one.
And I assume this one's okay now.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
that one's
If
ready
you
to
would
go.
just put that in there too.
Okay.
And,
If you will just pull out, I will put it underneath. And there it goes.
okay.
Now we're ready.
Now.
Okay.
So what brings you two to URTV
Let me
today?
see if I have any snacks.
I'm crewing.
Would y'all like snacks?
We have Milano cookies. Is there anything better?
More cookies?
Huh?
Yeah, well, there is something else. I'll give you.
Oh my goodness gracious! No, I just moved to Asheville. I've only been here. This will be just under 2 months,
Oh,
and so I moved from Washington D.C. and worked on productions up there. So I used to produce, and now I just like to crew. And there's a program coming on at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock, which I will be directing.
oh.
And so I have no idea what the content of the program will be. I just direct and make sure the shot's on the right person who's speaking when they're talking, and hopefully it all goes well and it sounds good. And so I'm here to do that.
So have you done like news directing or broadcasting?
I've not done most of my work was what's called in the business industrials.
Mhm.
So I was working for companies. I did some work for government, but not much. Didn't like doing government work. But did a work for either nonprofits,
Mhm.
organizations, or private companies. And we would do whatever they asked us to do. In other words, it was the good news is we got the job. The bad news is we got the job. Now we got to figure out what to do. We promised them we would do this. Now how are we going to do it based on the budget they gave us? And,
That you accepted.
yeah, that we accepted.
Yeah.
Of course, it'd be, being private, you said yes to everything. Can you do this? No problem. We can do this.
Right.
Can we recreate an airplane crash for under, a small sum of money? No problem. We can do that.
The airplane's gonna be this big.
It's only going to be this big, and you get one shot. That's it. If it doesn't work, we're going to have to go to something else. We'll have to have a plan B.
Mhm.
But it was.
Well, I bet you get really creative doing that.
It was very creative because you had to. We had to.
Yep.
Our term was making chicken salad out of chicken poop. And that was our joy in life, was just doing that. And we were in Old Town Alexandria and had our own studio and crew and cameras and equipment, but equipment that probably you've never even seen.
All analog.
Yeah, old analog 3/4 U-matic.
I've seen that.
We
Not
used-
in use, but
yeah.
I've seen it.
You know what a Steenbeck is?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we used to edit on 16 millimeter on Steambecks.
That's
and-
what I did in
and
film
clip,
school.
clip the film, hang it up on the hooks, and then have your little splicer ready and put it together, and
Mhm.
run sound and clappers and all these other things.
There is. There's something really, great about the tangibility
I
of
love
film.
it. It was hands on,
Mm-hmm.
and
And the sound, that the reels make, and I don't know.
it was wonderful.
And as
I
we
loved
said, the smell of the film.
That's it.
it. The smell of the film,
Yeah.
We knew it was genuine.
and we had
And the chemicals.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And you had the wind-up cameras
Especially.
where you'd have you could wind them up, and they were synced for about 7 minutes.
Mhm.
And they would, you just hold and you'd shoot,
Uh-huh.
and they were good for, you could carry them any place. We did a show on the Concorde, which when it was flying, and yes,
What?
you just got it. That was a little wake-up call.
Ooh, that sounded like I thought there was a dog.
Dog.
Here, I'll warn you in advance. When it really works, it does like this. That was a mistake. It can do that, or it can do this.
Oh, there you go.
You've been talking too long, and it's time to leave. So it was fun. I mean, I've not done broadcast work at all, so that you know, we get to we sit around and watch other people do broadcasts, so or do television Hollywood style filming, which was always amazing to watch what they got to use compared to what we got to use.
Right.
You know, we would do with one 14-foot trailer what they would take 7
14-foot trailers.
It says 7 huge
Trucks.
Trucks coming in to do and go, wow, I wish we had that kind of money.
Broadcast had the very best for until Fox came into the scene.
Yeah.
And then that started driving. It was the competition and everything started driving. Fox came in on a lower level, and started driving everybody else's stuff down. That's what I experienced. That's what I saw.
Well, I'm trying to figure out how would it have been if Dumont actually made it. If Dumont was able to be more successful in ABC, CBS, or NBC, how would that have affected all of us?
Well, they had a quality ethic, I don't know.
I'm trying to. I don't remember what the actual fallout was. I mean, I didn't know if it was. I knew it wasn't money, but there had to have been something that made them. Because at that point, ABC and NBC were still the red and the blue networks, right? So you actually really had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then Dumont. I guess depending on what part of the country you're in, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it was Dumont was the whole country. That ended up being split up into all the UHF stations, and everybody just sort of got their hands to that. But I think I was just wondering. I mean, would Dumont have been like the service back then if it had gotten the push? It's like the VHS and Beta Wars,
I don't know. That goes too far back for me to know what was going on.
Backer for me.
But you mentioned the UHF networks and all. What's getting ready to happen is all of the broadcast bands are getting ready to be taken up and divided up into digital stuff instead, because there's a gold mine there for them because the bands are so wide. But and so everybody's television is going to be obsolete in 2009? Is that the year?
2009. Yeah. If you don't have a converter box, you won't be able to see a thing.
Well, I'm of the opinion that in 2009 that there'll be a great potential for Anarchy TV, for pirate TV, which will just destroy these digital channels, but for pirates to come up with analog transmitters,
and nobody will be bunking them on.
That will transmit on these same frequencies because everybody was going to have a receiver for them, and these things are still going to work. And I think that it was a mistake that the FCC did not allocate at least 2 or 3 of the regular bands to stay as broadcast bands, so that it might have required that a station in an area reallocate their frequency, but they could have continued that programming, and the boxes out there that were made to pick that programming up would still be usable. And
what are they going to do with the older frequencies? Are they using them for mobile units, or what are they taking the frequencies for?
They're going to be like cable. They're going to split them up into digital stuff, like digital radio, like satellite.
Single sideband and the
everything. Right. They're going to carry multiple channels and they'll all be digitally assigned.
Because in Japan, between FM stations and regular TV stations, they're all low broadcast.
Low power.
Yeah, but I mean, it's good for a broadcasting distance of a couple blocks. And they have many of those, and they're super high quality, but they're all concentrated. I know we have a couple of small FM stations like that around here where you're away from the highway and you can't pick them up anymore.
Right.
But they sound superb when you're driving right by them.
Right.
Well, it sounds very similar to the
gone.
way AM and FM is going. I mean, there are a lot of AM bands that you can get on, and you can be low power, and you have a particular. Your audience could be your neighborhood. Your audience could be the 5 blocks that surround your transmitter,
Right.
and that you're just talking to them. And if somebody happens to drive by, they can listen in, and if not, that's who
Right.
they're trying to reach.
And you can daisy chain those a bit. You see what I mean?
So you can have them all playing the same thing.
Yeah, you can. You can get together with the guys in your neighborhood, and you can say, "I'm going to do the radio show from 5 o'clock until 8 o'clock." Okay, and then at 8 and then you pick it up down here like 3 blocks away. That's as far as I can get. You pick it up there, and you.
Carry it through.
Yeah, right. Translator. You be the translator from there on.
And there
And
goes
then
your-
at 8, when I go off the air, then I'll just put you on mine, and I'll translate for you. See what I mean? And we can get neighborhood radio stations that turn out to cover the whole
It's
town.
still a network no matter what you do.
Huh?
It's still a network no matter
Yeah.
what you do.
Right, and we can network it, and now with the internet and all, it makes it real easy for everybody to just just network into the next guy's thing, and of course, then everybody also can listen to your show on the internet if you've got got enough bandwidth to stream.
Like that. Well, I'm not going to give a direct plug, but like the Blue Echo.
Uh-huh.
It's a great internet radio show out of UNCA,
Mm-hmm.
and
We can talk about that.
Okay. We
No
got the
problem talking about
DJ
the
419.
DJ 419 and now who has teamed up with some of the members of Mount Dungeon
Mm-hmm.
have jumped in on that. So they should be putting on a show. They have invited me as a guest DJ, but I'm unprepared. I haven't done radio in a while, and everything I own is stuffed in a storage bin, and just to get to my material, I don't even know how to.
Well, you got to MP3ize everything too. I think he only plays MP3s. Is that right?
Oh, I don't
haven't
know
seen-
about
so you
that.
got to check with that because I mentioned one time about having an amalgamation of stuff put together.
None of my stuff's on
I
MP3s.
thought I was you don't have any problem converting. I got a USB turntable.
Mhm.
Mm.
A
I love it.
USB turntable.
I loved it so much. I bought one for my brother in Massachusetts.
Okay, does
I
it
bought one from
does
Washington.
it does it have a magnetic cartridge on it?
Yes, it does.
And what is the brand of the cartridge? Is it a brand that we know, or is it not?
Yeah, it is. I think mine's a Stanton.
I was going to say
I think,
Stanton.
I think
Okay.
Marsh's ended up being an Electro Voice,
Okay, it's a Stanton, and it's got a
a P-mount.
it's got a preamp built into it with equalization
Yes, it
for
does.
the Stanton, and then it converts it straight on over and comes out as a USB. That's a
That's right.
wonderful thing.
And it's got a mini jack inside on top, which would shut off the sound from the turntable.
Hmm.
And you can have an external source, reel to reel,
Mhm.
8-track, cassette,
Right.
wire.
So it's
And
your
it's-
USB in
Yes,
to
and
whatever you
anything,
want.
and you can
Mhm.
go and monitor through
Well,
whatever
that's-
you're recording.
That's excellent. And you know what that's going to make us have? And so one of the things that I have lamented is now that the vinyl records are disappearing, and the means to play the vinyl records is disappearing, and the music is being downloaded off of the internet from everybody's file. Well, some people have recorded the music better than others. Just because they have a file of that song does not mean the fidelity is good.
That's right.
You see what I mean? And a turntable like that, that will go right in, will help bring the quality of the reproduction
Right.
up. And
Now,
I like
you
that.
do have programs that take out pops and clicks and things like that, but you know what? I like the old sound. I like that.
Well, I'll
scratches, skips I get a problem with, but
I'll put up with pops and clicks. I used to do a radio show, and the name of my radio show was Skips and Scratches.
see, there you go.
That was the name of
I
my
love it.
radio show. And on my radio show, my DJ name was Dextro Rotary Isomer. That was my name, Dextro Rotary Isomer. And I would say this, and my show was Skips and Scratches. And I would say this portion of, do you remember when there used to be the Ideal Drugstore on Haywood Road?
And,
Well, anyway,
How long ago was
there
that?
used to be a drugstore called the Ideal Drugstore on Haywood Road, which went out of business. So I took that place as my my phony sponsor, and I would say this portion of Skips and Scratches is brought to you by the Ideal Drugstore on Haywood Road, and I'd say this is Dextro Rotary Isomer saying if you're looking for drugs, remember Ideal Drugs.
That's great. I think my thing is done. I gotta run.
Okay, well, thank you for
Nice chatting with you
Nice
guys.
chatting with you.
And then they busted me for 3 felony counts of marijuana. But
There you
anyway,
go.
That's another story. That's another show. Another show entirely.
the tea is good.
Yes, it is.
Mine's the
Amazing.
Do you-
sassafras.
Wonderfully.
Now you're doing the sassafras.
I'm doing sassafras.
Yes, I'm doing sassafras. I'm sticking with the sassafras.
All right,
I
I'm
get a little
doing-
crazy on ginseng. And, you know,
I'm doing the ginseng,
Yeah.
and so I don't know what the sassafras taste. I know what the sassafras tasted like yesterday, and you could definitely taste the sassafras. I put pretty good chunks in there today. I imagine the sassafras flavor is fairly strong.
It's there. And, it's apparent,
Mm-hmm.
and it adds to the quality of the tea tremendously.
We found that it mixed well with the tea yesterday. I don't know how it's doing today. We're still experimenting.
I think it's
It's good.
I assume it's doing pretty much like it did yesterday.
I take it you're running on a time lapse
Yes.
again,
Yeah.
as long as your battery holds out.
Well, yeah, it did. You know,
Do you need to plug in?
no, I'll be leaving in 5 minutes anyway.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I think he will too. So you might end up
Yeah,
being by yourself.
you
over
might
there.
end up-
Wait until you see what I say when I get by myself.
Oh, okay. So I have to go figure out what I'm doing. That's it.
Are you gonna take these cookies?
No, you get to keep, as the
Who
host,
brought-
you get to keep the cookies.
Who brought these cookies?
So they are good. aren't they?
Who brought the cookies?
I
Yeah.
I
Who brought the cookies?
I did.
I thought you did one. See, I can get them 2 at a
I just
time.
dropped in.
I'm afraid they're
Somebody
gonna
said Milano cookies, and I
Yeah.
showed up. I didn't know what was going on. I just knew they were Milano cookies.
I decided to leave the other stuff where it was.
Yeah.
Well, he said that he didn't know anybody that never liked the Milano cookie.
I've
That's
never-
what I said. I never met a muesli I didn't like.
A morsel?
A
Muesli.
muesli.
Muesel.
I never met a muesli I didn't like. We'll let that one go.
Deep rich chocolate, it says here.
That's
Yeah.
now the mint Milano is a lot. A little more eclectic.
Yeah, I'm not a mint chocolate person.
You have
I've
to-
never, even mint
There's
chocolate.
a lot of people that aren't.
Yeah, there. And even the ice cream, the mint chocolate, I just never grabbed me.
You look like you have your union number on your hat. Is
No.
that?
This is this hat will be picked up by probably somebody who might be watching will immediately know what this hat means.
734.
734. When you see a hat that has, especially it has 3 numbers on it like this, it's representative of a steam locomotive.
Okay.
And these are the numbers from steam locomotives that, and traditionally, people who are into it will buy the hat of a locomotive they've ridden behind or on. And this 734 is the steam locomotive on the Western Maryland Railroad. It's the only one operating on the, it's the last steam locomotive on the Western Maryland Railroad, which technically doesn't exist. It's a excursion railroad now. And so I bought it when I was out there, and you'll see different numbers. And when I was at Leaf Festival, I was walking along, and a guy just grabbed my
Oh,
arm.
so you
and
have the
said-
same
he said-
numbers?
No, he just said, which locomotive?
Mm-hmm.
And he said, which and where? And so, and that was the only person he knew immediately. And it really is for train, especially steam train aficionados who kind of
Right.
look and they go, okay, I know what that.
I would have guessed that, but back when I used to chase steam trains and stuff, we wore those little stripy
the engineer
hats.
Engineer hats.
Yeah, and all the train guys had the engineer hats and would have the patch representing the line.
Right.
on
Line,
it
had
and
the
stuff
round
like-
patch with which line it was.
Right,
but-
and sometimes the locomotive number.
Yeah. That would be, then it was a short line rail, like say the old nickel plate railroad, and it was engine 612, and the real good ones.
So is that one a